Do you see this woman? This woman, her name is Maryam Sanda, and a lot of people are aware of her case, of why her case has been trending for like since October this year. For those who don't know, let me refresh your mind. Maryam was accused of killing her husband during a domestic dispute. She accused her husband of infidelity, of having an affair outside marriage. In a heated argument, she carried a flower vase. Now, because this is not allegedly anymore, because she has been convicted by a competent court. So she carried a flower vase and smashed it on her husband's head and unalived him. So the case went to court. She pleaded not guilty. So the various court cases that dragged on for years, and she was finally found guilty of culpable homicide and was sentenced to death by hanging by an appeal court. So in October, President Bola Tinubu began to give clemency or pardon to a lot of convicted people, a lot of inmates, prisoners. And among the list of those who were pardoned were drug dealers, drug peddlers, um, drug barons, known drug barons, murderers, kidnappers. In fact, there is one case of a man of a, a notorious kidnapper who terrorized and killed Nigerian policemen from Edo State that President Bola Tinubu pardoned. And the pardon list actually drew wide outrage and criticism against the president. And Maryam was among those who were pardoned by Tinubu. So a lot of people were like, how would you pardon a known um, murderer, somebody who killed her husband? So President Bola Tinubu retracted the pardon and commuted her her death sentence to 12 years imprisonment. She already served um, almost 6 years, meaning that if the pardon had gone ahead, she would have spent less than 6 years before she comes out, because um, the the court the justice calendar is about 8 months, so she would have spent like less than 6 years before coming out of prison. But the case was still pending in the Supreme Court. The case was still pending in the Supreme Court because it was the appeal court that actually affirmed her death sentence. She went to to the Supreme Court to appeal the case. While the case was still pending in Supreme Court, President Bola Tinubu announced a pardon for the woman. Now, the Supreme Court on Friday affirmed her death sentence and criticized President Bola Tinubu for pardoning the woman while the case was still in court. Now, the question now is, does President Bola Tinubu have the right to pardon known criminals and prisoners? Yes, he does. But this case has not yet been fully decided because the Supreme Court was still on the case. So the Supreme Court now affirmed her death sentence. Now there is a whole legal quagmire, a whole legal confusion here, because right now we don't know if the president's pardon still stands, and or if the Supreme Court judgment will supersede that of the of the president, if the death sentence will continue as previously served, or the president's pardon supersedes the Supreme Court. Now, if you're a lawyer and you are watching this, I want you to Let us know in the comment section what actually is going to happen, because there is a whole lot of legal issues that have been thrown up, that legal quagmire, legal confusion. Can the president's pardon still hold, or does the Supreme Court has more power over the president? Can the Supreme Court, with the Supreme Court's Supreme Court death sentence affirmation stand over that of the president? Now, if you're a lawyer and come across this, because right now a lot of people are asking the question: will the president's pardon hold? Is it more superior, or more superior to that of the Supreme Court, or the Supreme Court is more superior to that of the president? So that is a whole lot of issues. But for now, the Supreme Court has affirmed the death sentence of this woman, who killed her husband uh, in 2020. So and the case was actually decided on Friday. The Supreme Court actually sentenced her to death, and it continued. Sorry, not sentenced her, but affirmed the decision of the lower court of appeal to actually sentence her to death by hanging. So there's a problem here with the president's pardon hold, or the Supreme Court is supersedes the president's decision. So let us know in the comment section what you think.